Good morning. It is a little past 7 a.m. on Friday. Zach and I have an appointment that's going to be like 2 hours, so I have a half day at work. But I'm starting this vlog now because I can't take it anymore. I'm picking up Wintersong. I don't know why, but I am just in the mood for a book like this. And it actually worries me because I'm so excited about it, because I'm either going to love it or it's going to be a massive disappointment. And if I'm excited about it, it's more likely to be a disappointment. Let's hope it's not. I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star, but I'm so excited to read this. For those of you who don't know, Wintersong is a retelling of Jim Henson's Labyrinth, which is a movie starring David Bowie as the Goblin King, Jennifer Connelly as Sarah, and directed by none other than Jim Henson. And yes, the Muppets Jim Henson, same guy. I'm wearing the shirt. It has a cult following that I've noticed. And I guess Jae Jones is also a fan because this is a retelling of that story. Liesel's sister gets kidnapped by the Goblin King. She has to go find her. And yes, that's kind of the plot of Labyrinth. Except it's Sarah's brother Toby. And anyway, she has to save him from David Bowie's Jareth, and it's basically what this is. Apparently it involves romance, fantasy, and a little bit of music, which I'm excited to see. I love having like music in books. It's fun. So I'm really excited for this, and I'm gonna go ahead and start it because I just can't hold it anymore. But I really want to read this book, and I'm stupid excited. So I'm gonna start reading. I will update you guys later. Might not be until this afternoon, but I'll see y'all in a little while once I get started. Bye. Hi guys, it has been a few days since my, I guess, update. I wouldn't call it an update. It was a very rushed start of vlog because we had an appointment that morning and had to be at somewhere at 8. I'm not going to go into detail, but I knew I wanted to start Wintersong, and I wanted to start that day, and then I haven't really vlogged since. Because I've been too busy reading. What do you know? Not only reading, but some other things are going on. And it's just hard to film when it's dark by the time you get home. But I am still reading Wintersong, and this is not one of those updates where it's like, oh, it's been 4 days and I've made very little progress. I've actually made pretty good progress. I'm on page 187, which isn't like amazing for 5 days. Pretty good indication to me that I'm at least enjoying myself. But to be honest, I'm conflicted. I'm on page, like I said, I'm on page 187. We're like 2 chapters away from part 3. I do see where this book does get its inspiration from the movie Labyrinth in a lot of ways. There are some very clear nods to the original Jim Henson film in the book. Like very beginning of the book, it's very obvious that there's a nod in the peaches and things like that. The fact that the lair is called The Underground and the main song of the movie was literally called Underground. So there's a bunch of nods and a bunch of bits and pieces of the story that would make any Labyrinth fan go, oh, I like that. I know where that's from. But the elements are different enough that Jae Jones is telling her own story, which I kind of appreciate. As much as I like the writing, I do have some kind of issues with some of the writing. Our main character, Liesel, just considers herself plain. Like, a lot. Like, she's very down on herself. And it can be kind of depressing to read. But it's also like she says it so many times. Like, we get it. You're not, or you don't believe yourself to be the beauty that your sister is and the talent that your brother is, and I get it. But you're so down on yourself. It makes it harder to read. It makes it a little more annoying to hear this character's thoughts. But I am invested enough in the story that I can at least look past it, because I do want to know what's happening. I do like this take. I do think this is a very interesting story. I do think this is a very interesting telling. There is a lot of German in here that I have absolutely had to use Google Translate, because I'm like, I don't know what that means. And I'm like trying to say these words in German, and for the life of me, I can't get it right. I think the one that's used most often is, it's on this page, Der Erklung. If you're German and I'm screwing that up, I'm so sorry. Der Erklung. I am butchering that. Okay, I'm just going to show it. This word right here is used a lot. It is German. Der is German for thee. But if I plug the other word into Google Translate, it doesn't translate it. So I don't actually know what it means. There's a lot of different language use, which I think is very creative. I like that it takes place in Germany. That's not like a big deal. It's just been an adventure trying to learn what these phrases and words mean that I'm not familiar with. All in all, pretty good. Pretty good so far. Nothing too crazy. It's a fun world. It's fantastical, and it's a fantasy, and it's fun. If anything, it is just fun, and I do think that like a lot of people who have seen Labyrinth will appreciate this, but I do think it can be appreciated by people who haven't seen the Jim Henson film as well. But just know going in that it is a retelling of that story. So that is my update on this. I'm going to read some more of it. I just lost my bookmark. I'm going to read some more of it. This vlog is probably going to go until I finish this. And I'm almost halfway through, and it's been a few days. So I might want to get back to reading it. It is 8 o'clock at night, because I had to work late. And I had to do wifey things. Not that I am upset about that, but I had to do wifey things. So I had other responsibilities I had to do before I could finally sit down and read them. Anyway, enough blabbering. I've said I'm going to end this update like 3 times now. I'm actually going to end this update. That's all I need for this that's all there is for this update so far. I'm almost halfway through Wintersong. And it is like 6 degrees outside. It snowed last night. I'm going to bundle into a comfy burrito and read a book. I'll see you guys later, and hopefully I'll be a lot further along. Bye. Actually been a few days again, and I don't have much of an update for Wintersong. There's no chapter numbers. I'm on page 233, so I literally have 200 pages left in this book. No huge update. I'm only about 2 chapters into part 3, so nothing really new here. I do, however, have a little bit of a book haul, if you can call it that. I unhauled like 5 books the other day, but I also had several that have been in a box that were ready to go. So I went to half price books for the first time. And the reason I've never been before is because the closest one is like an hour away. But I do think the trip was worth it because I have 2 new books. And the first one I'm super excited about because this one is really big on TikTok. It's really big on BookTube. And I loved Five Survive, so I finally got A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And I only have the first one because they didn't have the second one yet. Well, they didn't have the second one used. And the reason I like that this one is used is, one, it's already pretty well loved, but two, it doesn't have that really annoying sticker, not sticker on the cover advertising her newest book, like My 5 Survive does. My 5 Survive cover has this weird, I hate these, permanent sticker for the reappearance of Rachel Bryce on it. I love this book. I don't like this. I don't like it when publishers do this. So when I decided to get A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I did not, under any circumstances, want that sticker on it. So getting it secondhand kind of prevents that. And it's also a well-loved book already. Like, it's not perfect, and that's fine. So I got it for, how much were you? $5.49? So I'm excited to actually read this one. I'm probably going to read these next year because there's 2 weeks left in 2024. Holy cow. And this one will be one of the first series I really want to get into. Well, second. No, one of the first, because this will be a shorter series to get into, because the other series I want to get into is the Stormlight Archive. That was going to be an adventure because I'm such a slow reader as it is. So anyway, that's the first book I got for my first trip to Half Price Books. My second one is, of course, a nonfiction. I don't think I can go to a bookstore anymore without getting some sort of nonfiction about sea creatures. I got The Whale by Philip Howard. I hope I'm saying that right. This book is probably almost a decade old. I think it's over a decade old. Basically, the author takes a deep dive into whales because he's had a fascination with them since childhood, and because of, I believe, Herman Melville's Moby Dick. So I'm kind of excited to read this one. Anything ocean mammal, if you've been on my channel since the beginning, which wasn't that long ago, to be perfectly honest, you know by now I have an obsession with orcas more specifically, but marine life, marine mammals. I wanted to be a marine biologist at one point. That didn't pan out, and that's fine. But I still have a great fascination for these creatures, and these kind of books excite me. So the fact that I have one of these in my hands is so exciting. It was also the only one on their shelf. It is a little, the dust jacket is a little damaged, which is fine. I'm excited to read this along with some of my other nonfictions that I have next year, including The Sound of the Ocean, which may have to also wait until January because my brain is still on Wintersong. So I guess I should go back to reading this. It is, oh, it's exactly noon. So my husband should be getting off work soon. I'm going to get back into reading this. Just a small update to say, hey, it's Saturday. I should have plenty of time. It's also supposed to snow today. It was supposed to snow at like 3 a.m. and it's bone dry outside. So there's not much for my winter ambience while reading Wintersong. I will say this about this like really fast because I've already been talking for too long. I am invested enough in this to know I may very well, there's a high chance I will read the sequel. But I don't think it's a 5-star for me. As much as I'm enjoying it, I just don't think it's a 5-star yet. I'm a little over halfway through it. I like the story okay. It's a very interesting take. So, I'm excited. I'm gonna stop stalling, okay? Anyway, that is my update for today. I will try to do something cozy other than just read, but at the same time, I'm comfortable just reading. Okay? And I will see you guys later, hopefully when I have made a much more substantial dent into this book. I've already made a pretty substantial dent. I've got 200 pages left. But hopefully I can get an even bigger dent and a little closer to the end of this book. I will see you guys later. Bye. 9:30 at night, and I have finally finished Wintersong by Jae Jones. I'm not doing this update at 9:30 at night because I just finished it. I literally finished it 3 hours ago, and I've been, what's what I'm looking for, chewing on it. I think it's a 4-star for me. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of love it. It's not quite a 5-star. I have a few nitpicky things. Liesel, or Elizabeth, very much calls herself plain a lot throughout the book, and I kind of understand because it causes a confidence issue and an insecurity issue, and I kind of understand, but I don't know why it's said so many times. I can understand why this book is in parts, because that first part, once you look back on it after being in part 4, is like way, not kind of out of left field, but not disjointed either. Like, it kind of makes sense, but it feels, it's probably because there's so much change to the characters, but then like the next 3 parts, the first part just feels like a completely different book. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. The love story is cute. The ending is incredibly bittersweet. The ending actually makes me want to pick up the second book because I want to see more of this world. I want to see more of her, of Liesel and the Goblin King. I don't know what to call her. I think she's Liesel in most of this book. The Goblin King calls her Elizabeth. I think that's how you say that. Because it's spelled with an S, not a Z. It may just be Elizabeth. I don't think so. The Goblin King does not have a name. So he's just referred to as my lord in German, and because I can't say it to save my life. And the Goblin King is basically how he's referred to. Or the other word I can't say, Elhong. And I looked up how to say it multiple times through reading it, and I'm still butchering it. But those are the only names he's referred to. You do not learn his name. Ever. It's hinted that Elizabeth knew it the entire time. He's like, it's been in your heart the whole time, but you as the reader never know what that name is. I'll just put that there. It is, I don't know if that's like a spoiler, but it is kind of a plot point. I like the character development. Liesel, like, kind of starts referring to herself by her full name by the end of the book as she changes. The creatures are interesting. The lore is interesting. It can be, like, seriously creepy at times, and also be very cute, very romantic at times. I honestly thought this was going to be one of those books where she's, like, falling in love with a bad boy, like, those kinds of things, especially since this came out in 2017. It starts like that, but as you learn more, it starts to make it actually seems a little more functional than that. So I was actually very surprised. I'm not sure how organic the romance is, but I don't hate it. So I did enjoy it. Something else I kind of wanted to note, because I'm not much of a smut reader, there are love scenes in this book, but they're not explicit. So it's like, you know what's going on, you know what they're doing, but then you don't know what they're doing. Does that make sense? It's not like in excruciating detail. And I appreciate that. And it was able to keep me in the story because it was short and it was not that explicit detail love scene. It was just, there's actually a few of them. All in all, I did enjoy it. As a fan of the movie Labyrinth, I did see many of the references to the Jim Henson film in this book that made me smile, but were also some of them were actually made into like terrifying obstacles, which I enjoyed. I really did enjoy this retelling, and I want to read the second one. I gave it 4 stars. I did enjoy it. It took me a while to actually finish it, which is why this video was late. But I got lost in this world a couple of times. I got lost in this very easily. You can very easily get lost in this world, and I do think that's part of the fun, especially when you drawing inspiration from a movie called Labyrinth. I did unfortunately see David Bowie's Jareth. I don't even think I saw how she describes the Goblin King in this book. I just saw David Bowie as Jareth. That's all I saw. But again, I know what this is based off of, so that's kind of what I saw. Liesel, not so much. I didn't see like Jennifer Connelly or anything. Like, I just couldn't. I think she's her own character in that way. I do think the Goblin King is different from Labyrinth Goblin King, which I enjoyed, but just how he's described, I saw David Bowie the whole time. The goblins are definitely different and very creepy. Like, no one's really her friend in the situation. So 4 stars for me. I'm very much wanting to read the second one, but unfortunately it will probably have to wait until 2025 with Christmas coming up and everything else. And I was supposed to be on his book buying ban, and that never worked out because I bought this and like 3 other books because I went to half price books in this vlog. So that is my update on Wintersong. I do kind of recommend this for people who like the movie Labyrinth. Maybe if you haven't even heard of Labyrinth, you may enjoy this. You may not get like, you won't know like the Labyrinth references, and that's okay. But the romance is pretty solid. If you like kind of different worlds and different fantasies like this, I think you'd still kind of enjoy it. It's a solid fantasy book, I mean, if you ask me. There's a lot of mystery still to be solved, and you do kind of leave with some questions, but I think that's kind of sometimes the fun of a mystery novel, is not everything is inherently explained, like, perfectly. There's still gaps and there's still room for interpretation, and I do really enjoy that about this book specifically. I think it kind of follows that classic fantasy trope. So I recommend for any fantasy reader, anyone who's a fan of Labyrinth and is interested in a retelling, recommend. It's not the movie, which is nice, but you can kind of see where the inspiration came from, not only in the Goblin King's description or the fact that it's a Goblin King. But yeah, 4 stars, and I like that. Anyway, and that is the only book I finished in this vlog. I think this is just a Wintersong vlog. The only reason this update took me so long to film after I finished this book was because I got stuck in preparing my 2025 reading journal spreads, which will be in the same notebook that I have had them in since 2023, because there's plenty of room still, and I only have a 50 book goal, which may go up if I finish 6 books in the next 2 weeks. I don't think that's going to happen, but that video will hopefully be coming soon. If I decide to do that video, I'll probably do that video. That one's fun. I haven't done anything like that in a while, so that video will hopefully be coming out soon. I'll probably work on that this week, and that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tell me what you're reading. If you've read Wintersong, what did you think? And if you're a fan of Jim Henson's Labyrinth, let me know. Apparently it's a lot more popular than I thought it was. It's quite the cult classic. Anyway, that is it for this video. And I will see you guys next time. I hope you guys have a great week. It's hinted that Elizabeth noted the whole It's hinted that Elizabeth knew it. Oh my god.